They're everywhere.
Hey, all of you out there in Eorzea, welcome to She Heals, I Tank, your weekly Final Fantasy XIV podcast. Today is Friday, April 17th, and this is episode 214 of the Shit Podcast. I'm your host, Vegan Pete, and always by my side is the wonderful, enigmatic...
Ooh, looking up the big words there. Hey,
That was off the dome, baby. I forgot to rewrite it. Still said lovely on the outline.
Hey all, Avi Ale here. How you doing?
I am good. Thank you for being here. As always, Avi. April 17th. Do you know what that means, Avi?
It's April 17th.
Do you know what that means, though?
It's 1 month from your birthday?
Yeah.
I'm so smart. I have my moments.
And thank you to everyone, whether you're listening via the podcast or watching on YouTube or joining us here tonight live over at twitch.tv/shehealsitank. And I wanted to start off with a little update with me. A few weeks ago, I let you all know that I was being furloughed at work.
You're like, our podcast about Final Fantasy. I'm going to talk about myself.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's exactly what my ego went to, Avi. But I let you guys know that I was being furloughed. It was a little bit of a stressful time for me. But I just want to let you know that thankfully I have been informed by my company that they will be able to bring me back on Monday next week. So I really appreciate all the support that you all gave me during that time. It really means a lot to me. So I am going to be back to work. But the government relief plan that they are using to bring me back only lasts for 8 weeks. So who knows what the hell is going to happen after that. This whole situation is crazy. And a lot of you had been joining me almost every weekday for a little show I was calling Furloughed with Vegan Pete. I won't be able to continue that like I had been because I'll be back at work, but I really enjoy doing something like that. So I'm hoping to do maybe a lunch with Vegan Pete 2 days out of the week, thinking like Tuesday, Thursday, because I really enjoyed spending a little time with all of you where we could just discuss what's going on, share some laughs together, and vent a little bit when we needed to.
You know, you could literally just do chatting at lunch and not have to make an outline with stories.
That's what I told people earlier today. It's like it might have to be a just chatting.
I was going to say, like...
even though I enjoy finding news stories to talk about and have my own ranty takes on them. But enough of that. Nothing is going to change with the Final Fantasy XIV podcast. This will always be here for you. And I just wanted to give thanks to everyone. And hopefully we turn the corner on this whole pandemic soon. Of course, we'd like to thank all of you that have continued to support the show as well during this time. I know things can be a little tight for people right now, so we're honored and humbled that you choose to support the show by subbing like these amazing people. We have S. Rosario 66, Joey 2531, and Superman 77, all first-time subs.
Thank you for joining us.
At 2 months, we have Dead Prosaic, Paul Metal Mace, and Less Than John. And at 3 months, we have Cascol and Will Duran. 4 months, we have Ivory Mist and Caters. And 5 months, Argonaut 54. Coming in at half a year, 6 months, Fenris Wolfbane and Ghost Wolf Rage. At 8 months, we have Cater Pants. And hitting that 1 year mark, we have Sunwise Buddha, followed by Oaken Hops at 19 months. And many of those were actually gift subs from Chili as well as Broly. So thank you guys for hooking up some people with a couple of gift subs.
And remember, if he said your name wrong, that's a nickname from Vegan Pete.
We've got a fun show for you tonight. We're going to talk a lot about the story that went along with the relics that we talked about, like the quest in general last week, but we're going to be getting into some specifics this week.
So spoilers if you have not done the hour and a half of questing story.
But you had 2 weeks to do it.
Yeah, which normally we give longer for story, but it's normally not content that takes an hour and a half.
Yes.
So.
And I've also had a chance to mess around a bit with the new Skysteel crafting and gathering tools. I'll be talking about that a little bit. Avi, you're more than welcome to talk about that as well, but I doubt you are able
I'm
to.
so well informed. I've totally done them all already. What are you talking about?
But before we get to any of that, we have everyone's favorite segment.
Greenleaf Minute.
It's the Greenleaf Minute, and this one comes courtesy of Amari Ray from Twitter, who pointed us towards a tweet that reads as follows. As a new tank, I found, quote, big pull, or pull big, very unhelpful. But start with your biggest cooldowns, reprisal every pack, don't wiggle the mobs, use your stuns, was helpful. I get being bored as a healer, but, quote, just pull big is like not going to get what you want.
Yes.
So
I actually replied to this, and I actually do think that's a very good tip, but I responded that as a healer who, I mean, I've played tank, but I can't like tell anyone how to play tank. I generally say pull as big as you feel comfortable, and that's the best I can do, because I'm not going to be like, use your cooldowns. What's that? I'm like, I don't know. I've never played Dark Knight. Like, I can't.
Yeah.
So I just say, as long as you're comfortable, I can't help you tank because I'm not good
and
at
I
it.
think that's some good wording from you. Pull as much as you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
And if it happens to be one pack of mobs at a time, then it's one pack of mobs at a time. And you do a little more DPS. You don't do too much healing.
Sometimes, though, after the first poll, if the first poll is only one pack of mobs, that's when I'll type that.
Yeah, you can say feel free to pull as much as you want.
You can pull bigger, pull as much as you're comfortable. Like, that's my coined phrase. That's what I always say. Pull as much as you're comfortable.
Yeah, so I thought this was a great topic. I see healers say this a lot at the beginning of a dungeon, mostly in later game stuff, though, like Expert Roulette.
I feel like in later content like that, I think it's more about letting the tank know that you're able to handle it.
Yeah.
Because that's how I feel like that is. Like, tank's like, gonna go for it. And it's just your way of being like, got it. Go.
Pretty much in any Expert Roulette now, unless someone says, like, first time at the beginning of the dungeon,
right,
I'm just going to pull wall to wall,
yeah,
which is another way of saying big pull.
Yeah.
And if we die, then we die, and I pull less next time. It's not a big deal. But yeah, if you just say pull big, that really has no context to a new player.
Nope.
They don't know what a big pull is. They don't know that in endgame you're pulling until you can't pull anymore.
Or they don't even know, like, you might not know the timing of pulling, because like it's very difficult for a healer even, if you're pulling and then you pause and then you pull and then you pause. It's gonna piss off your black mage. I can tell you right now, you got a black mage in your party, they can be like, this, but your healers, not going to know when to start placing. Some of the stuff has to be placed on the ground, and they'll throw off the rhythm of the group. So go as smoothly and continuously as you can if you are doing a larger pull.
That's actually probably one tip that I don't give enough to new tanks is don't start running to the next pack of mobs until the other one is done, because I find it very annoying, especially if I'm playing
stacks.
Especially if I'm playing monk and I need to get like one more hidden to refresh my stacks, and then all of a sudden you moved them and they're out of my range, and
you're timing it because you can see how much life is left on the thing.
And if I already used sprint to catch up before, I don't have it up again to catch up, and my gap closers are down because I'm trying to get as much DPS as I can.
If you're a black mage, you cannot cast when you're moving unless you have those abilities available, which you really will have likely already used them on a big pull. So at the end of it, you'll just be like scathing, which does nothing, but it's your only instant cast. So then those last few items are going to like just take longer to kill because they're having to run. It's clumsy.
Yeah, it's definitely better to get more packs of mobs at once, burn them all down, and then move on to the next one after that. Don't get one pack, wait until they're at like 20%, and then move on to the next pack, and then move on to the next pack.
That's so annoying.
That's probably the most annoying pool pattern in the game that I've seen a few people do.
I also think that if you are playing a tank, I think the two jobs types that would make the most sense for you to like be a better tank to play is like a monk or a dragoon, some melee class with positionals, and of course a healer.
Yeah.
And you don't have to level them very far. I think we've mentioned this many, many times, but if you just understand how important the positioning of the mobs are, and it might actually make sense for you to play a black mage a little bit, or a summon or something with AoE, so that you understand the grouping of the mobs too. I don't know how much AoE melee really does, because I don't melee.
We do a lot of AoE.
So then, well, you'll see that then. But yeah, that's just our little tanking tip.
Yeah, so the big problem with just saying pull big is, I think, for the newer players, the first 10 dungeons or so.
More than first 10. Yeah. Way more than first 10.
They have no idea what a big pull is. And it could mean different things to different people. A new tank might think taking 2 mobs or 2 packs is a big pool. So you never know what the other person thinks. It's all subjective.
Yes.
And also, early on, a lot of people just won't be comfortable pulling big at lower levels, either because they might not understand how to use all of their defensive cooldowns yet, and what some abilities like Reprisal and Arm's Length do.
Or it's easy to forget to put that pesky little tank stance up. I guess it's not as big a deal anymore, is it?
Well, you always want it up now in a dungeon because it doesn't lower your DPS
but like
at
it
all.
used to be a really big deal if you forgot to do it. Like you would be like, why can't I keep this tank alive?
Oh no, it's not so much that.
No, used to be that.
Well, it wasn't usually like, thank you for that sub. Exterminate. I think I got that right. What was I trying to say?
You were talking about how tank stance was never viable.
No, I'm saying you always want it up now. There's no reason not to have it up now because it doesn't nerf.
I think you weren't listening to what I was saying.
It doesn't nerf your DPS. Back then, if you a lot of tanks would not have it up to try to do more DPS. It wasn't about keeping aggro up, and it wasn't for healers not being able to keep them alive.
No, okay. In lower level dungeons, but when you do have tank stance, if you're a new healer or a new tank, or a new healer actually, and the tank forgets to put their stance up and they're not doing it for DPS, they just don't know what they're doing. Hi, I've been that tank. Then they are very difficult to keep alive because they don't know what they're doing and their tank stance isn't on. That was what I was saying.
I think it's difficult to keep them alive.
You're thinking like end game tank, and I'm like basic tank stance. Do your job.
It's difficult to keep them alive if they don't have their tank stance up because there's probably a mob beating on
That's
you.
That was my point. That was my entire point.
Not that they're squishy.
No, that was exactly my point.
Okay.
That was all I was trying to say.
So, saying pull big isn't clear enough. Tell them to go ahead and pull 2 packs or 3 packs, whatever you think they might be able to handle. A big pool is going to be subjective, and if they aren't comfortable pulling multiple packs, then just DPS a little bit more as a healer, and you get through the dungeon maybe a couple minutes slower than if they pulled everything.
Oh, and KK McLeod says if a tank sinks, then it removes tank stance if they have it on before, and then they get in.
Gotta put it back up.
Gotta remember to put it back on. That was probably the thing I was worst at with tank, was remembering to put tank stance up. Like I don't play any jobs that have something like that, so it was like a completely foreign concept to me. It's like almost like remembering to eat your food when you're leveling so you get that 3% bonus. Like you only do it for a certain period of time, but for tanks it's like perma.
You get used to it when you're tanking a lot, especially if you're doing content that requires a main tank and an off tank, so you have to start with it off and then you want to put it back on so you have a little more defensive ability.
Well, then it's more of like an ability that you're playing with instead of like the food you have to eat at the beginning of the fight.
And then you forget you turned it on as the off tank, and then the main tank pulls and you end up with aggro.
That's what cleric stance used to be for I think when it was just for scholars. I think scholars at first were the only ones who had cleric stance. And then you'd be healing, you're like, why is this heal not working?
McLeod says, we need a more she tanks, he heals.
I level my tank with the fairies.
I think we're due for another night like that.
Or the pixies.
Yeah, and as far as for like giving suggestion to tanks or anyone for that matter, I usually wait until a dungeon is over before I offer up much like intricate advice.
Oh, intricate, okay.
To a person. Like I'm not gonna micromanage exactly when they're using cooldowns here. And
you can like throw out tips while it's going.
I like to save that in the end though, like especially if they stick around for a while.
KK's like, he doesn't want to get booted.
It's not that I don't want to get booted. I don't want to accidentally embarrass someone in the middle of a dungeon.
Well, like there was actually a fight when I was a dungeon we ran as Black Mage. I'm trying to learn how to do the AoE rotation, and I actually was very lucky to have. I talked about this a couple podcasts ago, but another Black Mage who answered all of my questions. It was really cool to have somebody there, and not everyone I know feels comfortable asking questions, because people are jerks, and I think if you're willing to offer, like, you just kind of start and say, hey, if you want any tips, I main blah, 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 blah. And you can just throw it out like that. And then if they have questions throughout the dungeon, they'll be able to use you as a resource for the entire run instead of having teacher throw a bunch of shit at them at the end and expecting them to remember it all.
Oh, I'm not doing that. I'm only doing it if I feel like they're receptive to it. But yeah, if you want to do it in the middle, you can't, like, if you notice they're not using a cooldown, you can be like, hey, you could use a rampart during a pool like that, and then gauge off their reaction from there. If they're like, fuck you, nerd, then I'm like, okay, Not gonna give any more advice to you, dumbass.
I feel like people used to chat more in dungeons. I used to really enjoy.
Yeah, I feel like people just are trying to get tomes. That's all people want.
It's just
They're
like
trying to go as fast
one
as
and
they
done.
can.
Go as fast as you can. I used to like calm based on who made me laugh. I miss that.
Yeah, that's why I tell people all you have to do is say hi at the beginning.
No.
You have to compliment someone's glamour.
Oh.
And you have to be last to leave, and you'll end up with the most commendations.
I mean, but that's like that won't make me give you my commendation.
I'm the only one that did it.
Well, no, if nobody else talks at all, maybe. But like,
I said, "Oh my god, your glamour is amazing."
You might get it if you don't.
You're
suck.
gonna get it.
But you got to be genuine. I don't know. I think that's part of why I haven't been running a lot of dungeons. Is I miss like actually talking to people. Stuff. It's an MMO. Like it's supposed to be with people.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of people run with people they know. Like I much prefer run with people in the FC than doing like a rando one.
I love if I get a group though and they're like friends and they're chatting the whole time and I get to be like part of this little group for a bit. But like, yeah, I don't know.
And I think like when you're running in a group with like the FC, you tend to go into voice chat more than chatting online.
I guess.
But I thought that was a pretty good topic for Greenleaf Minute, helping out some maybe new tanks or helping people just communicate better. If you're going to give someone a suggestion, you have to give them like solutions as well. Like I always go back to my first Hawk Manor run. Don't just yell at me to keep aggro. Tell me what I can do to keep aggro.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Let's move on to Avi's favorite segment of the show. It's the tweet of the week. It is the tweet of the week.
Superman77 just said, good players take constructive criticism and roll with it. It makes them better. Superman, I'm going to do you one better and say, like, good people take constructive criticism and roll with it and then make themselves better. Like, that's life. You have to be able to, like, it's a sign of a good person.
What topic are we on? It's the tweet of the week. I forgot for a second. I wasn't sure if I played it already or not.
I think it's because your brain power is in your beard and you cut out the center of your beard and now like your brain is just leaking out through your chin. If you guys want to see pictures, it is on our Twitter. My husband is a crazy person who thinks he looks like Wolverine, but does not.
I never compared myself to Wolverine. And you also have to like state which Wolverine it is. Remember in that first X-Men movie, he was probably half the size that he is in the later X-Men movies.
Oh, I mean, because that's
he
like
got jacked.
Sequels always there's when they make like sequels of movies, there's always more violence, more nudity, more like more buffed out, more gratuitous. Whatever you insert there, like every single subsequent movie of a series has to have more of all of that. So he's going to be like painfully ripped by the end of it until they did the best one, which was Logan, where he was older but still ripped, and then they just kind of went more dark, so they took it a different direction, but still, yeah.
You guys don't even want to see Schindler's List 2.
You're an idiot. Oh my god.
But this week, tweet of the week. You keep on derailing, obviously. I got to keep on playing and reminding people what segment we're on. This one comes from Hella. And they say, at She Heals I Tank, I want to start listening to this podcast, but I'm not sure where to start. I'm new to Final Fantasy XIV and was wondering if you have any helpful episodes for noobs. You guys seem so fun and personable.
Oh, that's super sweet.
Thank you so much for that, Hella. And
we are kind of like the noob podcast.
I responded to them. Check out episode 67. That was
the problem is, though, a lot of that's outdated now.
Our first Greenleaf special.
Yeah. I think we should like... I know we should revisit that outline, and we should redo it. Yeah. Because we can revisit basically all the topics that were done, add to it, and then like refine the ones that have changed.
Yep. We definitely are due for another Greenleaf special. Mm-hmm. All right.
We're not going to be busy with any conventions this year.
Yep. Comic-Con canceled today. Big bummer. Mm-hmm. All right. News and notes from around the realm, Avi. What do you got for us first?
Square Enix has announced when the next live letter will be. You will be getting the first preview of patch 5.3 next week on Friday, April 24th. You're going to have to get up bright and early on Friday as it's going to get started at 4 a.m. Pacific, 7 a.m. Eastern. You
going to get up for that?
No, not even a little bit. I really like sleep. You know this. You complain about how much I like sleep.
It's annoying.
I love sleep, you guys. It's so good. The first half, I think is what you're trying to say there, will be the preview of patch 5.3. I imagine he'll probably give an update on the timeline for patch 5.3 again, whether it's going to be a few weeks delayed or a month or maybe longer. The second half of the live letter is going to be a stroll with Yoshi P, where he hops on his little Lalafell and will visit servers and we'll see what kind of adventures he gets up to. Super fun, super cute, nice little chill, relaxing thing.
Yeah, I think the most important thing for me is going to be what kind of, or if any, relic information they give. Like, are we going to get a step in patch 5.3? Are we going to have to wait until 5.35? Because then, like, as short as this one was, like, if we were going to get more in 5.3, it didn't seem too bad. But if we have to wait all the way until 5.35, that just exacerbates it even more.
So it is going to be interesting to see if they give us any more information, like the next step of the restoration of Ishgard. And everybody's really curious on that one.
Yeah, because I think we're all expecting it to eventually lead to the new housing zone.
Oh, God. I, forgot about that. That was, I thought that was going to happen so much sooner. Like, I didn't forget about it, but I forgot about it. It's like one of those things like your parents told you about, and then they just keep, delaying it to the point that you don't think about it anymore, and then it comes up again, and they're like, damn it. Now she's going to start complaining and asking about it again. Well, you're welcome.
Got anything you want to get off your chest?
No.
I never felt like that.
What? No. Your parents are like, yeah, we're going to go to Disneyland. And then money gets tight. And then they're just like, oh, let's just not talk about it.
You think I got to go to Disneyland?
I did. Well, your parents, you're not poor. Your parents are just cheap. And so is he.
I went once when I was 11. And then I think once after that.
We went
I went twice in my life.
Oh my
God. Or twice pre-adult.
We went once a year. And Knott's Berry Farm.
Well, I went to numerous 4th of July parades in my little town.
You were I'm sorry.
And I don't even like parades. Hate them.
Aww.
All right. Something else that happened this week is the patch 5.2 special site got updated with a couple of pictures.
Oh, I didn't look at that.
And
I'm going to watch our stream slideshow.
This is for the newest Extreme Primal. And if you did the Relic quest, you fought this guy. You kind of fought him. Did you guys hear her? Oh, I don't know how you got 27 clicks out of opening a fucking can of beer.
I was trying to be quiet.
It's like click, 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 click. So yeah, I don't even know why they did a special thing for this. I guess just because they didn't want to spoil anything previously. But they have given us a picture of the fight with Varys. That's the newest Extreme. I still haven't done this fight, so I have absolutely nothing to add to this other than they gave us a couple of pictures. I've heard it's pretty on par with the difficulty of Cinder Drift, which was Ruby Weapon, which in my opinion wasn't that hard. So hopefully the people that don't like that the Relic gear is gated behind an Extreme Primal will give it a shot at least.
I like it. Sounds good.
And then there is also a free login campaign going on right now. So maybe you're listening, but you've let your account lapse for a little bit. As long as you have been inactive for at least 30 days, you can take advantage of this free login campaign right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually giving you 8 days this time. They're giving you more time than they ever have before.
That's amazing.
That's almost a third of a month.
A third of a month? Who says that?
I don't know.
All right. Almost a third of a month.
So,
oh, and it ends on your birthday.
Ends on May 17th. What was I gonna say about this? Oh yeah, as always, the most important thing to know about this is your time starts as soon as you start to update the game client. So if you haven't been playing for a while and you're like, oh, I'm gonna download it now in preparation,
don't.
Like, if you're gonna play earlier in the morning, then you can start downloading it the night before, so it's ready to go when you're up bright and early to play in the morning. But you don't want to do it like 3 days in advance.
Did you also say that your account has to have been inactive for 30 days?
I did.
I wasn't listening.
Who wasn't listening?
I wasn't.
Now?
Who had a really long day at work and's just like, I'm gonna drink some alcohol.
Me.
Okay. So the Primals. It's all in caps. I feel like it's like the Primals. Also known as the official Final Fantasy XIV band, led by sound director Soken, have released Out of the Shadows, containing their first new tracks in 2 years.
We got some new tracks, baby.
Oh yeah. This also marks, I almost said masks. This also masks the first time the Primals have interpreted pieces from the critically acclaimed Shadowbringers in their own inimitable style. How you'd say that word?
That's how I would say it. I don't really know what it means.
It's like their own, like, you can't imitate it. So it's unimitatable.
Why didn't they just say unimitatable, though? According to the internet, it means so good or unusual as to be impossible to copy.
See, it's what I said.
Unique.
I was right. Boom. High five.
You're right, but the internet said it better.
Boop. No, you can't give a 5 with a finger.
I was trying to give a boop.
Nope. 5. Okay. Sorry. So you can bet that each of the 4 exhilarating song hits emotional beats like never before. Out of the Shadows.
Why are you reading like that?
I don't know. It's just kind of funny. It was more like the sentence that was humorous to me. I swear I haven't had that much to drink. I've just had a really long day. Out of the Shadows is available now for download on CD. Who gets CDs anymore? And on CD. So fans around the world can savor these new tracks in seconds with the click of a button or bring home a new addition to their collection. Ooh! Honestly, you guys, I guess people like the art. I'll give them that. But like, I'm a digital person now. I don't need the physical copy of things because you forget you have them.
I don't forget I have them. They just take up too much space now.
Dude, that was a fight too.
I used to have so many CDs. You don't even know how many CDs I used to have.
I do know how many Blu-rays you have. And then there was this whole argument about like when we were buying our house. He's like, the art. I have to keep the artwork. There's the artwork. And so I bought this special Blu-ray DVD booklet that had a spot for the artwork to go in. And literally like hundreds of Blu-rays he had, like 6 had artwork, and he was like mad because he thought there was so much more.
I never thought there was much artwork. I just didn't want to get rid of the boxes. I like the boxes.
And like how much space they take up.
Not anymore. I've minimized, baby. Anyways, you can get 4 songs on this motherfucker: Insatiable, Ultima, Blinding Indigo. I think there's a porn star named that. And What Angel Wakes Me.
You forgot how much it costs, and it's loading very slowly. The songs are $1.29 a piece, or you can buy the entire MP3 album for $5.16. I don't know how much the physical copy is because I don't see it, but it does have a 5 out of 5 star rating from one customer review who did not write anything.
Damn it. I was hoping we could read it.
I know. No, it's just they just did the stars. It actually is an Amazon bestsellers rank number 3 paid in albums.
Thank you for that host,
That's
Treyland.
actually pretty cool. And it's number 1 in soundtracks on albums. So I get why they do this. Like there's like a top 100 paid in albums, and this is like number 3 right now, you guys. So
number 3 in top soundtrack albums of a Final Fantasy universe.
On Amazon. No, on Amazon. Like compared to all these other really weird. I can't believe these are...
Little Tech 9 on there? Hell yeah.
It's some weird stuff, guys. All right. White Buffalo is number 19.
Another porn star.
Blame It on Baby Explicit is number 9, and then Blame It on Baby Clean is number 10.
Who buys a fucking clean album?
Almost as many people as who buy the explicit.
Lamos, that's who.
All right, so the number 1 is actually... Hate that one. I'm curious. Oh, Fiona Apple has a new
No,
album.
oh, we're off topic.
I know. I'm just saving it
This
for
is
later.
not a shitty music podcast.
I like Fiona
That'd be
Apple.
a fun podcast to do, but that is not what we're doing right now. Especially not Fiona Apple.
Well, no, it just made me Fetch the Bolt Cutters. Have you seen that movie? I haven't even heard of that movie.
No. There's no movies out right now.
It's like
Everyone's locked in home. They are not releasing movies.
But it was like, oh, it's just an album. It's not okay. I was looking at soundtracks. That wasn't soundtracks. My bad. That's what confused me.
Right. Close that. I don't need you getting distracted anymore.
Ooh, the Primals beat out the Trolls World Tour soundtrack. That's cool.
I'm gonna shave your head.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that Square Enix put a lot less money into the Primals making a 4-track album than freaking whoever made the Trolls movie did into making that freaking song album. That whole movie's music. Yeah, freaking Justin Timberlake and all those people. Like, that's pretty damn cool. He doesn't like me today.
Amazing.
He doesn't like me at all today, you guys. I'm so annoying him right now. All right.
All right, Abby, do you want to do Skysteel Tools first, or do you want to talk about the Relic story first?
I want to teach you some fucking lore first.
Teach me lore so you'll know some shit.
KK says they're doing role reversal today. So yeah, Pete.
How is this a role reversal? You always fucking annoy me.
Oh, but you're like the Jedi master of it. All right. Oh, my lore is not loading. All right, let me zoom in. All right, Pete. First, this lore actually teaches you a little bit. No, you have to wait till you're doing the answer. No, it's not how it works. You can do it again. Yeah, I knew it was coming. You're predictable. All right. The classification of bestiary of Final Fantasy XIV are broken down into 3.
I start over?
I knew you were going to do that to me. You do it every time. Every time. The classification of bestiary of Final Fantasy XIV.
Beast what?
I'm explaining what it is. Bestiary.
Oh.
There you go. You literally.
I thought it was bestiality.
Wait. No, like, are you? I was just talking about how KK said role reversals because I'm the one being annoying, and you're like, I'm not annoying, and then you're just doing that to like take it back because I was being too annoying. Like, you have to be the most annoying. Is that what this is?
No.
I think that's what this is.
No.
I think so. Okay. Beginning again.
Yes, I am.
Look at my sword. Sorry, that was loud. The classification of the bestiary of Final Fantasy XIV are broken down into 3 classifications. Bloodborne, which are those living beings.
That's a video game.
Through which lifeblood courses. Bloodless, beings of which are void of life-bearing humors but still function. And transcendence, beings who spiritually and physically toe the line between the corporeal and ethereal realms. Before I go into my question, Pete, can you name those 3?
Bloodborne.
Okay.
Blood.
No.
Bloody.
No.
And Void Set.
Oh my god, you guys, this needs to be teaching Pete lore. I'm literally going to read a thing and see if he can repeat what I've said. Doesn't need to be a question. It has to be just like, did you hear my words?
No.
Okay. Bloodborne, those are living beings who have blood that courses through their bodies. Bloodless, which are beings who are void of the life-bearing humors but still function like zombies and stuff like that kind of thing. And transcendence, beings who spiritually and physically toe the line between corporeal and ethereal realms like a carbuncle. Okay? So these 3 classifications...
What is Tataru?
She's bloodborne.
Okay.
These 3 classifications can be further divided into 12 smaller
Holy
groups.
shit.
Known as
That's a lot of
classes.
groups.
Everyone's like, oh my god, what's happening with Pete's face?
Just fell off one day.
Guys, oh no. Okay, so these 3 classifications, what were they again?
Bloodborne, Iceborne, and Transcendent.
What was the second one again?
Iceborne.
I thought that was a joke.
Bloodborne, non-blood person.
Try again.
Bloodless.
There you go. What are the 3 of them again?
Transcendent, Bloodless, Bloodborne.
Okay. I seriously and like 100% wanting to change this to me just giving you a fact and seeing if you can repeat it. Because I think that's like
Never gonna happen. You know how hard it was me to write the like recap of the
How hard
relic
it was
weapon,
me?
even though I just did it last week. I'm like, I don't fucking remember.
like you guys. If I think this is gonna happen just because it's easier for me. Okay, so
I just like to play games.
give him
man.
a treat. KK says, give him a treat. He deserves
Ow,
a treat.
ow, ow.
So these three classifications, which are
Bloodborne, bloodless, transcendent.
awesome.
Treat, please.
Are further divided into 12 smaller groups known as classes. Which of the following is a class that does not exist in Eorzea?
Stripper.
A. Beastkin. B. Loamkin. C. Cloudkin.
This is way too many kins.
Or D. Vilekin.
Viokin is one. What are the other ones?
Beastkin, Loamkin, or Cloudkin.
Can I see how can you spell the second or Loamkin?
Loam kin.
Either Loam or Cloud, but I feel like Cloud is something that we would have like Cloudkin in the Sea of Clouds. I'm gonna go Loamkin.
Is that your final answer?
Yes.
You're right.
Hell yeah.
I actually thought that was going to be harder for you.
I'm a genius.
Loam is another word for earth.
Oh, is that why they call it fruit of the loam?
No, it's not. You guys. There, yeah, that was very slow and very the ba-dum-ba was the right one. Okay.
You don't wear fruit of the loam?
Oh my god. All right, Pete. So this next section is something I have nothing to add
Oh,
to.
just like the rest of it. Boo.
Oh, so you want to start recording podcasts by yourself? That's what he's saying, guys. He doesn't want me here. He wants to do it all by himself.
Got her. This week, I had some time to sit down and dig into the Skysteel.
I'm gonna leave since you obviously don't need me.
Skysteel
You just said you don't need
Tools,
me.
but I need you for comedic affect.
You just said you could do it all without me, basically.
No, I didn't.
You did.
Do you know what the Skysteel Tools are?
Either crafters or gatherers' relics.
They are both.
There you go. I was right.
So these are the tools that we got as relics for crafters and gatherers.
Wasn't Skysteel like the gears or whatever that we used to get from Diadem?
Is it?
Good answer,
I thought
Pete.
they were like brass spoils and iron spoils.
But Skysteel doesn't feel like a new phrase.
But you go to the Skysteel Manufactory in Ishgard, which is where you got your machinist quest before, and they were kind of forging stuff there.
Okay.
So that's how it kind of ties in with everything. But I will say, for those of you that were disappointed that there wasn't much of a grind for the Disciples of Magic and War relics,
Y'all need to craft together.
these are right up your alley if you are looking for something mindless to do while you're stuck at home during this pandemic.
Especially the gatherers, from what I've heard.
Yes.
I was like, I'm so not going to do that, but there you go. Yep. I actually told Pete, by the way, you're being all like, oh, I don't know anything about it, but I watched some videos and I said, Pete, you need to do these so you can speak to them because I've heard they really suck.
Yeah, I mean, if you're trying to get them all in one day, then it sucks. But if you're just like going for one a week or something like that, it's not too bad.
Okay.
So, yeah, if you're going to try to poop sock it sucks. But if you just take your
I
time.
hate that phrase.
I got the miner tool first. It probably took me.
When you said that, I thought like the smaller one, the lesser one, the minor tool. The minor tool, yeah.
It took me probably about 2.5 hours.
That's not bad, you whiny little bitch.
Yeah, that is longer than it took for like the entire quest line of the relic for my gunbreaker.
That is true. That is true.
And there isn't much story to the Skysteel Tools. But it's pretty much all a grind. For gatherers, there are 2 upgrades to do before ending up with the final Skysteel tool, which is called Dragon Sung. You get the base tool by just doing the quest to begin it, and to upgrade once you have that base tool, you have to gather some items. You have to gather like 300 HQ of one item and 100 something of one that is a hidden item, which is just normal quality. You can't get HQ of that hidden item. And then you turn that in for the first upgrade, which is called the Skysteel Tool +1. And then to upgrade that to the Dragon Sung tool, you need to gather even more stuff. This time, like 500 HQ of one and 300 of the hidden item.
I did hear that fishing is easier because they don't do like that HQ requirement. So it's a little bit, because HQ for fishing is a pain in the patootie, or so I've been told.
Yeah, you definitely want to know what your abilities do to help you get more high quality stuff. And also use like King's Yield so you get more of it if you already have a high chance of HQ. There
are some really great guides on crafting and gathering, I'm sure, for like helping you gather like the more high quality items and stuff. I don't know off the top of my head, but I know there are. So like if you're getting started on this, it would probably behoove you to check those out so that you don't just go and waste a bunch of time. Because I know when I first went back into Diadem, it had been so long since I gathered anything. I was like, I know how these buttons are supposed to work, but I don't remember the order that I'm supposed to do them in. And then Pete just kind of like gave me a quick little refresher, and I was like, oh, I feel so much less dumb now. Like, because I used to do this and know how to do it, but it definitely helps for that little refresher.
Talk to me, you'll be less dumb.
That's not what I said. Not at all what I said. Not even a little bit. Yeah, you look what you did to your face.
I enhanced people's lives. I think that's what I did. Everyone got a kick out of it.
Oh, I really did enjoy the clip art or photoshopped images of your head on. I mean, I wouldn't mind if you had Hugh Jackman's body. Like, I wouldn't complain. Love you.
That guy is roided out.
I didn't say like the chemicals. I said the body.
Mm-hmm. So that's what I did for minor, or what I did for minor. It was boring as shit. The story itself, nowhere near as entertaining as the actual Relic. So I much prefer the actual Relic to...
But I mean, that was like so good.
But this is like barely a story at all. I don't know.
Okay.
As much as I love...
Is Gerald still the one making them?
No.
Oh.
No. We're at the Skysteel manufacturing.
Oh, you did say that. I'm sorry. Well, I didn't know if maybe you like started there and then went back to him. And
nope. The Boja and Geralt have absolutely nothing to do with the crafting and gathering ones.
Because y'all your own special little team.
Yes, we're
team
the special needs class.
Woo!
And I did the process for making my blacksmith's dragon sung tool. And I guess one thing I don't like is that they've always referred to these things as the Skysteel Tools, but the last one is named Dragon Sung whatever, like Dragon Sung Pickaxe, Dragon Sung...
Why does that... Literally, you're going to complain about the name?
Because they call him Skysteel, and then I always want to refer to him as Dragon Sung now, because it's the last one that I end up with. It's not like I ever
literally
used the
just
other
because
ones.
you keep trying to say the wrong word?
Yes, call them the Dragon Sung Tools. That sounds so much cooler than Skysteel.
But you just said the Dragon Sung is like when you finish it, that's the name of it?
Yeah.
Well, then you earned that name.
Yeah, so call it the Dragon Sung Tool.
No, you weren't there yet.
You don't call it the not quite Relic yet
It's gonna
tool.
be called the Dragon Sung Tools for the rest of the Relic, progress.
We will see. So yeah, I was actually kind of disappointed in this one as well. I was hoping that they were going to be expanding the expert recipes into this and make it so you actually have to actively craft instead of just a macro craft. But even though you have to craft these with the base Skysteel tool to begin with and the +1 after that, instead of my facet tool, I was able to easily just throw together a macro for these without even having to eat any food at all for it. For these to upgrade to Skysteel +1, you need to make 20 HQ of a certain recipe, and then for the Dragon Sung tool, you need to craft 30 HQ of another item. The only thing to potentially gate you on this is the buying of components with yellow crafter scripts. So
Okay.
you either have to do collectibles to get enough yellow scripts to buy all the components with, or you can buy the components off the market board from people who turned in scripts to sell them. So that's the only thing that can like keep you from going through all of them all at once. And like I said, like,
But I mean, if you're like a crafter and gatherer who's like working on relic weapon or tools, aren't you like one of those people on the servers that has like too much money to do with?
most of the time, so
Or you're just cheap like my
so
husband
you
who likes
can-
to hoard it all.
you can just buy all the
money.
materials off the market board, but in my opinion, there's no reason to do that right now because there's really no new recipes that came with patch 5.2, whatever, 5 now.
Well, did you look at the cost? Because they might be really cheap.
They might be really cheap, but I also have no reason to try to push this as fast as I can. So
Because you're cheap.
my plan is just to do one a week because I can do custom deliveries, which give you about as much scripts as you need to do one relic item. And we're going to have plenty of weeks before the next patch that I can just do one a week. I'm not going to burn myself out trying to do them all at once. And I don't have to spend any money on the market board, or I don't have to spam a whole bunch of collectibles.
Okay.
Connolly's saying that earlier relics change name at each stage, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they do.
Peaches likes to complain.
They usually have some theme to them, though. I don't know.
You're in Ishgard. It's dragons.
But Skysteel to Dragonsung? I don't buy it.
Skysteel has been in Ishgard. Ishgard dragons. Thus, Skysteel
Well,
Dragonsung.
if there was some magic theme between all of them, it got lost on me.
Shocker.
So, people are probably asking, are the tools worth it? I would say they are. The only negative is that you can't meld them, so you would be missing out on either GP or CP that you have melded to your current tools. But other than that, I believe they all had better stats for craftsmanship, control, gathering, and perception. So as long as your rotation doesn't require that CP that you would be losing out on, or that GP that you would be using if you have like an Aether Sand rotation for GP, the Dragonsung tools will be better than the Facet tools at the moment, from what I could tell from a cursory glance item comparison type thing. You gonna do them, Avi?
Nope. Not even a little bit. You know, I originally like leveled up to 70 my gatherers so that I could get a map every day. And even if I didn't use the map, I would sell the map. And so that was the entire reason I leveled my gatherers.
I actually sold a lot of maps recently. I was like, holy shit, maps are selling for a lot. So I sold all the ones that I had saved up, and then I just started gathering
Like
one
level
a day.
70 or level 80 ones?
80.
Makes sense. Like, so yeah, that's actually a really good
70.
guild making thing is that if you've maxed one out to, it doesn't matter which one, if it's botanist or gatherer or fisher, I guess, you can gather one map a day and sell it. It's a very easy way to make guild. And if you don't have time to go and do the maps. Like,
Fisher used to suck for maps because you could get the lower level map, but now it gives you the option to decline that map if it comes
good.
up.
That
It used to
needed
be
you.
you're just screwed.
You were just screwed. That would suck. Yeah, don't let that go to waste if you don't have time to do it. Or you can have a friend where you like mail it to each other and then store it in your mailbox. We've talked about that tip before, but that's
we used to do that a lot with I think that was way back in A Realm Reborn with dragon skin maps.
Oh, it was when we were doing lots of maps when they first came out. My God. And because we were all gathering them every day. And then like on the weekend, we had like map day. We would just go for hours. So yeah.
All right. So now I think we're going to move on from the crafters and gatherers to the normal Disciple of War and Magic relic. But we're going to be talking more about the story more so than the relics themselves, because we talked about that last week.
We did.
So if you would like to talk about like any of the information from this quest series, you're more than welcome to call in, get in that on deck channel, and we'll see what you have to say. Because you guys may not have noticed this by listening to 213 episodes, but Avi and myself aren't the most versed in lore.
We just enjoy the game to enjoy the game. That's
fair to say. So we might miss something, and if you want to call in to alert us of something that we missed, please do.
So yes, we talked about the actual the weapons. Try to say the weapons. Last week, and so this week we're going to talk about the story. So again, this is the part where it's spoiler. So if you have
Spoiler
not
alert.
done the Relic story, please walk away. Please mute your headphones, whatever it is you need to do, because it is a really, really good story, and we're not even going to do it justice talking about it, but I do think you should do it. Even if you don't want a Relic weapon, do it for the story. It's that good. It is that good. All right. You want to start it off?
So yeah, I guess we'll try to do a little condensed version of this, even though it wasn't too long to begin with.
Because I don't like it when Pete goes line for line
Yes.
about the story.
I like full in-depth recaps. Avi doesn't.
I do not. I think it's boring.
Uh,
AF.
So we go to meet with Hien, and we get a little bit of background information on Bozja and how they are going to be fighting for their independence, like Doma and Alamigo did.
And if you don't remember Bozja, so Bozja was actually mentioned all the way back in 1.0 because the Garleans performed some tests for the Meteor Project, and through these tests, they ended up destroying Bozja, and that killed pretty much everyone there. And so they have this very tragic history associated with the Garleans, and they're not only trying to claim their independence, but they're still trying to recover from that because they've lost so much.
And I was actually trying to do a little bit of research on this, and I found an old screenshot from 1.0 that someone had, and it was of Gaius Van Belsar.
So wait, you set up all these little images for the other section, but this cool image from 1.0 you didn't think to put in that?
Yeah, it's too hard to read, I think.
Okay.
But it was of Gaius Van Belsar, and he was saying, and then this is 1.0, reminder, I do not wish to live to see another Bozja citadel. If you succeed in bringing down Dalamud, all of Eorzea will cease to be. So I don't know who he's talking to in this, actually.
It's kind of interesting, though, that he's like, I don't want to see another city or town or whatever, blow up. Just destroy the whole world.
So this could be directly before our calamity with Dalamud.
Yeah. It's just I think he's viewing it more so as Bozja was a failure for the Garleans, more so than the destruction that it caused for the people.
No, I think he was really against what happened at the Bozja Citadel.
Okay.
I think wasn't Gaius against the Meteor Project?
Lore. Don't remember.
If anyone wants to fact check that,
don't remember
for us.
1.0 lore. I didn't play 1.0. So yeah, so then we eventually go to Bozja and we meet up with some of their leadership, some of whom are just very interesting characters who don't feel like they should necessarily be in a leadership position. Which is really cute.
Did you say so?
They did. Did you not remember that?
No.
The main guy with the crazy mustache was just kind of like, I'm just here. He was kind of funny. And that's where we learn about what happened with Bozja and everything. And then the reason, the way they're trying to rally everyone in order to claim their independence is through recreating these weapons from their history that were just the most ultimate warriors
blades
used.
of Gunhilder.
Yes, the blades that
or the weapons of Gunhilder. I forget exactly what their term
blades
was.
of Gunhilder. Yeah, blades of Gunhilder, which sounds very your job to me. Tank
Salesman.
No.
Oh.
My brain just blinked.
Gunbreaker.
Gunbreaker. I kept wanting to say gunblade, but it sounds a gunblade is a gunbreaker thing. So I don't know. Blades.
A gunblade is the weapon. Gunbreaker is the job.
Right, but it just sounds. They sound very related. I don't know. God.
They both got gun in them, baby.
They both have blade and gun, but switched. This is not going well, at all. But so they've been really trying to recreate these weapons, and they've reached out because they need assistance. And they found that they use these that back in the day, because all these people were killed, they used these crystals that allowed practices where one's memory could be accessed, and they actually were generally used in the healing process. And so through that, they were trying to understand these older crystals that they found, and that is when Mikoto,
the blonde Aura from the Return to Ivalice raid series,
she shows up, and she goes into some of her awesomely nerdy scientific talk about the properties of the crystals.
And you say she showed up, but I think she's been working there for a while.
Right, but shows up in our story, I guess, and talks about how the crystals work along with brain harmonies, and that we can use them potentially to go back and read people's memories.
Yeah.
But she's been unable to access it because her echo works differently than our echo. Her echo allows her to see the future, where our echo allows us to see the past. So our coming there is perhaps going to allow them to use these crystals to look into the past to see if we can learn anything about how to create these guns, these blades. Sorry.
And excuse me.
That was really weird. You sound like a robot.
I've had a little bit of dry mouth today for some reason. Have we been able to use our echo on command before?
I don't think it was us using it on command even then. It's kind of like the environment necessitates it and it responds.
That's the only thing that I wasn't pretty clear on.
Is that a word?
Because it seemed like she was like, we need to use your echo, and we were like, okay, using echo, initiating echo sequence.
No, we always kind of respond kind of surprised, like, oh, okay, we're ready to go.
All right.
Echo.
I guess I took it a little bit different way, but you're saying it's just the environment and our echo just naturally got triggered?
I think it's like the cop-out story of it, but that's how it's always felt to me.
Well, that's how it's always felt. Like, it's always been convenient, but it's not like someone asked us to go back in time and see what happened, and then we're like, okay.
Right, but she handed us the crystal or something. Like, we talked it.
But it was like handing it to us to do it. Like,
right, but I also think that like handing it to us, like if there's something you're innately able to do and then there's something that kind of like reaches out to that, it almost like hyper focuses it. So I think by having that crystal in your hand, you could be like, well, let me see if I can tap into my echo, and then that crystal would make it very easy to do.
Okay. So the first person that we experiment this on, trying to go back and see their memories, is Geralt.
I loved it so much.
And of course, Geralt and Rowena have had a thing in the past together.
But we don't know. So what we learned from this,
they've had a relationship.
No, we don't know that that's true.
Well, not from this. No, from previous story. No, they have had
dynamic.
Yeah.
But like from what we learned from this memory is that not all memories are true because your brain changes them to protect yourself, to, make things happier than they actually were. There's different reasons why you remember things differently, which is why there's always like 3 truths. He said, she said, and what actually happened is because everyone remembers things in a different way, whether it's how you want it to, or even in a worse way for how you actually want to see that person. There's definitely like KK says, exactly like how Pete is undefeated in lore. Like his memory just like comes in to protect himself.
That's 100% true.
Yeah, 100%. That's his brain, but it's all leaking out now through the chin that's exposed from the lack of beard. So, but the little cutscene with Geralt, I don't think we need to go into the details of that. I think you just need to watch it and do it. It's really fun. It's really cute. It's adorable.
I mean, we're already doing like a spoiler cast. You don't want to talk about it?
I mean, if you want to.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was pretty funny that he had made up a scenario that he and Rowena had got married and they were having fun on the beach.
Which it makes me wonder, I'm like, does he like still love her?
Of course he does.
Okay.
He still loves her.
I'm like the like badass bitch who's like, you're gonna send me shit, we're gonna work, da 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 da. Like, I don't even see that.
Like, he loves her, and he's just like a drunk that could never get a girl like that. Or he could if he just...
Or, like KK says, he thinks it's a fantasy. Doesn't mean he necessarily wants her. He might not necessarily want her, but like, in that fantasy realm, that person you totally hate is like the best sex of your life kind of fantasy thing.
No, I don't think it was like a hate fucking situation.
I do.
Holden Koffel, thank you so much for that Twitch Prime sub. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
So I guess differing opinions. I think Geralt no doubt has the hots bad for Rowena.
I would like it better if he actually like had the hots for her, but I feel like it's more of like a fantasy thing to try to help him cope with her dumping him and him not being good enough for her. It doesn't necessarily mean he wants to be with her, but like part of him does. It could go either way.
Cetra says, I think the reason he puts himself in debt to her is to make her need him. That's an interesting theory.
I like that. Yeah, I like that.
I very much want to be a part of her life, and the only way I can do it is to get in debt to her so she always has her thumb down on me.
But that isn't always even something that I think a person would do as it's not a conscious thing. It's, I think it's very, I think it's all
he
always
out.
owes her but he doesn't understand why he can't get himself free of that. And especially like in that memory, like he talks about how much better he could be if he did A, B, and C, but like she's the one tethering him to that. And I don't think people don't always consciously realize that. Like, I'm sabotaging myself because I want to stay close to this person. They just know that they sabotage themselves. People don't consciously do that.
I think he does.
And Rowena is definitely high maintenance. Hi.
Self-inflicted alcoholic, and putting himself in debt just to get close to her. It's his plan.
I think Cetra said it right. I think he's a sucker for punishment. I don't think people are an alcoholic by choice, Pete. How you just kind of made that sound. He is an alcoholic, and people like that don't think they deserve good things. And so they pine for things that are bad and they punish themselves. So it's actually very sad. It's a very, very sad story that they were able to do in a very humorous way.
Sad story, but humorous.
Sad story told in a humorous way. It was a dark humor. Like if you dive into it, like he's an alcoholic who's failed and got himself into debt and is in love with his debtor. Like it's pretty sad, but it was really funny the way they presented it.
You have officially given me a boner.
I don't know. I just like stories like that. So what do we have next? Mm-hmm. So we use these crystals with Mikoto. And
her name is so confusing because it's too close to Mikote. Just gotta say. So I know it's like she's from... Yeah.
We did the test on Geralt, but we need someone that was actually there at the Bozja Citadel.
Because they're having problems replicating these weapons, and they need to see the inscriptions on them.
Yes. So the person that we can think of that was there is good old Cid.
Because one of the things we learned from these memories with Geralt is that even though he doesn't remember, like, everything around him, like if I saw this paper sitting next to me and then we tapped into my memory, like even though I didn't see it, we could like tap in and zoom in on that part because it was seen. Even though I didn't store it in something, I couldn't like quote it and say what was on that paper. You could actually access my memory and see the things around me and read my Wi-Fi password and be like, haha, because you saw it, I now know it.
So yeah, we're using Cid to find the specific inscriptions on the Blades of Gunhildr so Geralt can complete them. And so we get Cid, and we pretty much right away. There's not much anything leading up to it. He lays down. We use
What?
What?
There was a lot leading to it.
Oh well, we went to.
No, like there was literally just a lot of discussion with Cid about how these are memories that are like really difficult for him, and he doesn't know that he wants to remember them. It was a really hard period of his life, and it's just like talking about the fact that he's doing this, and with the memory we saw from the echo, we saw Mikoto's echo of the future of Cid on the table in pain. And then we go, well, let's go get Cid. That looked horrible and horrific for him. I'm sure this will be great. And we go and we get Cid. And he says, these memories are horrible and horrific. And I'm trying, I don't want to blame myself for everything that happened to Bozja because I couldn't stop my dad.
He was just being a little bit of a whiner.
No, Mike, you're an ass face. No.
Suck it up, Cid. We got places to go. Memories to see.
I dislike you so much right now. Like the emotional turmoil that Cid has been going through and continues to go through for this entire storyline is why I thought it was so good.
Yes.
This is a real thing where he felt he didn't put enough effort into stopping his father for the whole Meteor project, and it was his fault because he could have tried harder, or there were things he could have done and things he could have seen that could have prevented this, and so he blamed all those deaths on himself. And that's something people do all the time.
And I guess that is kind of a theme of this whole story is Cid blamed himself for everything that happened. The people of Bozja blamed Cid's father for everything that happened, so they're not too fond of Cid himself.
Right.
They're kind of letting him come here begrudgingly just because they need his memories to be able to make the weapons that they want. And the weapons are kind of just to like inspire faith in people, right? Mm-hmm. Faith in their people.
Yes, there are.
So we go into Cid's memory to try to find out exactly what happened during the Bozja Citadel, as well as we need the inscriptions from the legendary weapons of Gunhildr, which only special people were able to wield back then. But apparently we've got the power.
Sounds like people like who had the echo, kind of thing.
As you said, this is a very difficult memory for Sid to relive. It's a very traumatic period of his life.
I hate you right now so much.
For all the deaths
my
of those
God.
people.
You are a jerk. You are
Sid's
such...
my favorite character, but he's kind of whiny right here.
This is like traumatic like experiences from his childhood. KK just keeps sharing gifs of like me. It's like right now to you. It's literally Lily from How I Met Your Mother going, ass face.
So, this is where we get the instance, which we had gotten in pictures and a little bit of the trailer for patch 5.2.
It was very confusing because we were wondering why Sid was in a dungeon.
Why he was in a dungeon.
It wasn't.
Why it was like a fractured world. Like it looked all topsy-turvy.
It was really great. It was, so we were in Sid's memory in this instance, and it was oh my god, Dolly. It was very Dolly. Well, not Dolly. Dolly was the one who did the stairs in different
Dolly,
directions.
the sheep that got cloned?
I hate
or
you.
Salvador Dolly?
There was no Dolly didn't do so much. He did the melting clocks. Oh god, I feel like I should look this up beforehand. There was someone else. Anyways, anybody who knows, it's like, oh my god, Avi, I know you've taken art history. You should know this. The image, it was wonderful topsy-turvy world where it just was very geometric and out of shape, and it was like he couldn't remember things because he didn't want to, and we had to remind him and make him think of other things to help him remember like pathways and to help us get to where we needed to go. And it was just wonderfully done. It was beautifully done. It was some of the most artistic like creation of a zone for like a dungeon kind of instance that I feel like the game has really done, thinking of every element of space.
Like an Aisher painting? Is that who you're thinking of?
Maybe. How do you spell that?
I don't know. MC Aisher. So we're going through Sid's memories. We come across these mobs.
Yes.
Nice.
I am thinking of MC Aisher. That is exactly who I was thinking of.
Look at the big brain on Pete.
He got a win today, guys.
We come across these mobs and we try to kill them to see if we can change the memory at all. But
they literally say, like, let's try to kill these to see if it changes anything.
Yeah. And we kill them, and unfortunately we can't. They just respawn and start fighting the people in the memory.
And I think that's because this is an actual memory. This isn't like later we find that there are things that are showing up as memories that aren't actual memories. This is like I kind of thought of it like Sid's white blood cells that are like protecting us, protecting him from things that he doesn't really want to remember.
Yeah, we get to mobs that are trying to prevent us from moving on, that were generated basically from his self-conscious,
well, it's protecting his psyche because there's things that he's not mentally able to deal with.
Those mobs were actually called antibodies.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And they had multiple waves of these antibodies to try to prevent us from moving forward.
It was so cool. It was such a wonderful concept. Like, this was really, really, really great. I loved every element of this. I actually didn't expect this. Pete was kind of like watching me while I was doing this content. It was last week right before the podcast, and I was just like, ooh, this is so cool. Like the whole time, like, oh my god.
That's kind of why I wanted to talk about the story last week when it was fresh in our mind.
Yeah, it's fair. But I wanted to give people time to do it. It was really cool, though. I loved not only the fact that we had to do these fights, but I liked that the reason they gave behind us doing these fights completely supported the story. And everything about this was character development for Sid.
Mm-hmm.
It was so cleverly done
in this game.
It was so cleverly done, you guys. I can't even express how much I loved this story. That's why I tweeted and talked about last week, like, yes, it's over quickly, but it's amazing. It's like the best sex you ever had in 5 minutes.
I can have sex 3 times in 5 minutes.
Oh,
Jesus.
I know.
So after we beat those antibodies that are trying to prevent us from moving forward, we have our first like major fight of the dungeon with Altered Bahamut.
Yes.
So I thought this was pretty cool because I was like, holy shit, is that Bahamut? And I was like, he looks a little bit different. And called Altered Bahamut. And the fight in general, I don't remember that much of it. Like, there was nothing too unique from it, but it
was fun. It wasn't too difficult.
It took Sid down, so Sid actually couldn't participate in the fight.
I'm so mad because I'm a dancer and I made him a dance partner, and I was like, you bitch. You left me. But it was fun. That was a very like you have to move a lot fight. That's what I remember. It was like it wasn't difficult. There was 3 or 4 mechanics that repeated and you had to move.
Yeah, and it was from like the Bahamut T12 fight.
Right.
A lot of the moves.
I enjoyed it. I had fun with the fight.
Yeah, it's fun. It's always fun when you can basically solo Bahamut.
I mean, it's always kind of cool, I guess. Yeah, you're right.
And then after that, we get a little bit more story and Sid not necessarily having correct memories to what he's showing us.
Well, we see Sid pleading with his father and trying to get him to stop and showing him the scientific data as to why it's going to fail. And the father refusing to even read the book that Sid is showing him with all the data and the effort he's put into showing that it's going to fail. And he throws the book on the ground. And we stop and look at the book and go, and Sid even says, my father he was all about data. Like, why wouldn't he have listened to me at this time? This doesn't make sense to me. And then we kind of continue on, which I think it's an important element when we get further on, is the fact that his father may not listen to him, but his father listens to facts and his father listens to science.
Not anymore.
Well, we find out why. And then we get into the next room and we see Varys.
Well, we see Solus before Varys, actually. Okay. We see Solus, and then everyone's like,
that's not right.
That motherfucker should be here.
That's not right.
And then,
changes to Varys.
And then it's Varys, and I guess Sid kind of believes that could happen. He's not like right away, this isn't right.
Well, this is how I remember. So he's like Varys. So it ends up going through, and Varys shoots him. And Sid,
our Sid, not memory Sid.
Well, no, it kind of combines. It merges. So it shoots child Sid, but not child, but like young Sid. But then it also shoots adult
Peach Fuzz
Sid.
Face Sid.
Yeah, like Bubba Fuzz Sid. And I think it's because this moment is so emotional and so hard on him that like all of those protective barriers are breaking down. And so now whatever is happening is actually harming him. So there's a physical result to it. And Sid has to like fight through and try to remember what actually happened because it's wrong. And
then the fighting through is very much manifested in us actually having to fight
Varys,
which is the new extreme primal fight.
I enjoyed that fight as well, actually.
Yeah, so it was a pretty good fight. And is this the one that we summoned all of the scions for? Yeah. Which I don't totally understand that.
I think that was a way of that was a representation for the story. That was less, I think, for the fight than more for the story, because Sid felt like he was having to go through all of this alone. And by saying you have all of these people who have been here with you this whole time who believe in you, and they're here to support you and to help you get through this no matter what happens. And so it wasn't so much about the fight as it was helping Sid through his journey, because Sid has repressed that memory so much that he doesn't even know who shot him. And knowing that those he loved will be there and will support him and will fight through it no matter what is very important for him as a character. Pete's like, mind blown.
Yeah, you definitely gave it a lot more thought than me. I'm like, this is weird why all the signs are here, but I'm not going to think too much about it.
KK says it's like lucid dreaming. It is. It's also an acknowledgement that like this fight is more than you can handle on your own, than we can handle on our own. So we need to reach out and summon some help. And you had a choice between 2 different choices. I don't remember. Both of us had the scions show up. I think we chose the same one. I wish you'd have told me which one you chose, and I'd have chose the other.
It was allies or friends. Or
I chose
like
friends because friends felt stronger than allies. But I'm curious who would have shown up if you had chosen allies.
Probably the same.
Oh, KK says it is the same for both. And Cetra just said that Sid also suffered from memory loss after the events leading to A Realm Reborn, and suspect that his memories from further back were hindered a bit by this. That actually does make a lot of sense.
Well, yeah, like after the calamity, like no one remembered shit. Right.
Right. And so it's, but he is a Garlean, so his memory is different.
Found him at like a church.
Yeah. God, it's been so long.
I remember it.
It's the only bit you've replayed.
It's Sid's best boy.
So then we end up finding out that it wasn't Varys who shot him. It was Sid's father. And through that, what's her name again? I want to say Mikoto. I want to say Mikote. Mikoto points out, she's like, look at his eyes. And Sid's father's eyes are like fog blue sort of
very bright blue, like
blue.
neon blue.
And we realize that he's been tempered from Bahamut. And so it wasn't actually Sid's father making these decisions, which is why the book that I talked about, the science, the facts that Sid had worked on were so important, is because his father would have listened to that, except that it really wasn't his father anymore. This was Bahamut wanting to just kill people, knowing it would fail.
He couldn't have done anything.
There was nothing he could do
to prevent his father from going forward with the Meteor Project.
Right. So that is a huge bit of closure for Sid. I don't know, like, how much he will feel that, because this just like unpacked a whole other bag of feelings that now he gets to deal with as a character. I don't know, I'm one of those weirdos who, like, I turn off the game and I feel like the characters are like if I leave my character in uncomfortable clothes, like she's stuck in those uncomfortable clothes. Like, I think about weird shit like that. Like, so now like Sid's getting to like deal with all of this until he gets more story, like the whole Toy Story element, you know, where when you're not playing with your toys, our video game characters are our Toy Story characters.
They're going off
I'm
on
a
their own
weirdo.
adventures.
I'm a weirdo. No, I just think they're just like hanging out with their friends, being like, man, that asshole still has me in this damn bright green freaking subligar. Do you see how horrible I look?
He loves it.
Like silly stuff like that. I don't know. I make up stories in my head. It's cool.
So yeah, I think that was pretty much the bulk of the story that had a lot of impact for me anyways.
Yeah.
After that, it was a little bit more Geralt and Rowena stuff.
Gathering stuff,
just
get the
about
weapon
that.
made.
He's like, you got to go to her and, you know, you got to pay her and get everything I need.
Let it become your more like stereotypical relic quest.
Yes.
Make the relic weapon.
So yeah, and then we get to Rowena. She gives us the initial four things that he needs to make your first relic weapon.
Right.
And then after that, you buy them with poetics. 1,000 poetics a pop. Not too bad.
Nope.
So if you want them all, shouldn't take you too long. Now you can run MSQ roulette for those 300 poetics. You gonna do that, Avi?
Nope.
Hell no.
No, but I'm good.
So yeah, overall, I think I at least enjoyed this story a lot more than previous relics.
Oh no,
especially more than Eureka.
Previous relics never really came with any like super awesome story, in my opinion. I think that's why I didn't like. I'm not a big lore person. I don't need to know information just to know it. I know information when I find it intriguing and when I find it really interesting and really heart wrenching. So this story was very enjoyable, very surprising. Like, I was completely caught off guard by how much I enjoyed all of this. I didn't expect to like that was what I was getting into. When people was like, all right, you got to do the Relic Quest because we got to talk about it on the podcast. Like, ugh.
But I was like, it's really good. And
I didn't believe him. I didn't believe him because it's never been really ever. I mean, we played this game for years.
I've never said it's really good though. And that's the first time I told you.
I know, really, but like, I haven't been playing, so I thought maybe. AR weapons had some lore. Yeah, there was lore, but there wasn't story. And I don't remember lore just for the sake of lore. I remember lore because the story attached to it was something that I like connected to. I wish they'd have done this with the relics from the beginning. I fully expect that the rest of the relic is going to be grindy like they've all been.
Most likely.
Yeah, which is fine.
Apparently a lot of people like that, but I would always like it if you include this much story with the grind.
Mm-hmm. If to get more story as good as this story I had to grind through stuff, I would be more likely to grind through stuff than just to do it just to have a better weapon. So like if you like, I play games for story. Like when I'm playing games by myself, if the story isn't keeping me going, I'm not going to keep playing the game. So this was awesome.
Refreshing.
It was very refreshing. So again, if you guys haven't done it, should. It was wonderful. I really loved it. Like, I'm still shocked at how much I loved it.
And I'm sure we missed some of the minutia in that. So if anyone wants to email us or DM us any important stuff that we may have missed, be sure to do that.
I would love to hear it.
We can talk about it some more.
I'm so surprised that like when this was released, everybody just went to Twitter and complained. And I know we talked about this last week. I'm not going to go into a whole rant again, but I'm just so surprised that everybody was just complaining about how quickly it was over when I was like, but it was so good. Like, it was so good.
Yeah, I mean, like, time is a resource. and not a resource that we have a lot of.
Well, right now it is for a lot of people.
Even now, I mean, if you're working at home, you're still working.
But not everyone. But a lot of people were looking for a time sink, and so
that's why we got the Skysteel Tools.
I think the only reason people complained is because of what was going on in the world when this was received. Like, oh, and now people are complaining about Final Fantasy VII because it isn't the whole game. People like to find things to complain about. It's true. And yeah, bad news does travel faster than good, which is why I was trying to tweet out, like, what did you like? And thank you, by the way, everybody who hears this, like, that I tagged, that shared what they did like about it. I saw Krebs, I saw Mistosos. That one made me giggle.
We're about to talk about those
like,
in the listener reaction.
It was wonderful. Oh, I didn't realize. Okay, sorry.
So yeah, I think that's going to be it for our discussion about the Relic. If anyone has anything they want to add, let us know, and we'll go over it next week. So now we have the Community Roundup, partner. And that gave extra points because of my new beard. This week, our Community Roundup isn't about anyone in particular.
Oh, I was going to read this one because I wrote it.
Okay. You always have to read my words. Why couldn't I read something?
Oh, go ahead. Let's see.
I'm just joking.
No, read my words.
But more so, something you can do as a community. Twitch recently released a new social viewing experience called Watch Parties. It enables creators and viewers with an Amazon Prime membership to enjoy Prime Video movies together. Now it sounds like an advertisement.
It does a little bit.
Directly on Twitch. The beta version of Watch Parties was only available to partners to begin with, but now they've already rolled it out to affiliates as well. The unfortunate thing right now is it's only for the US. So maybe you can get around this by using a VPN.
He's not using my text anymore.
Yes. But ultimately what this means is that you have to have an Amazon Prime account, and then you have to link it to your Twitch account, which you already should be doing so you can give a free sub to a streamer every month.
If you've got it. I personally haven't had a chance. This is actually the bit I wanted you to read because I thought it would be funny.
I haven't had a chance to check it out yet. However, my best friend and I used to get together to watch a Magician's new episode every week. Okay, not every week, but at least monthly. We ended up doing a private stream in Discord where I streamed the show and she hung out. I mean, it takes us like 2 hours to finish an episode because we have to stop and pause, discuss, take a break for wine. But it's a lot of fun. And something we love doing. I'm sure it would drive Avi mad.
Pete mad.
Anyway, tangent aside, I think this is a really great time for Twitch to release something like this. If you'd like more information, the link to the FAQ will be in the show notes. And that's how you read someone else's written word, baby.
I actually find it offensive that you gave me a Valley Girl voice.
That was a Valley Girl voice?
A bit, yeah.
I thought that was my radio voice.
No, that was a bit Valley Girl. That was a little insulting.
And thank you for that Twitch Prime sub, etc.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Ian Show gave you like 3 flaming piles of shit during that.
3 shits.
3 flaming shits.
Is that good? Out of how many flaming shits did I get?
But I don't know if anybody else likes to watch shows with their friends and there's shows that you've watched since the show started. Because like when you're watching a new episode, if you're watching it like together, usually she and I don't start it until we're quite drunk. We start the episode and we have to constantly pause to unpack what just happened.
Yeah. You guys were like, hey, we're going to watch The Magicians. And like 3 hours later, I'm like, what the fuck?
We were really intoxicated. And and there was a lot of like troubleshooting. She'd never even used Discord before. She's not a gamer. My best friend Serena, I have known her. Our moms went to high school together.
She's 80 years old.
We've known each other since we were like in diapers. I was like the closet gamer of our group in high school and stuff. So like she's always known that I was like the random nerd of our group. And so it's just really sweet that she's like embracing some of the nerdiness and like giving things a shot. She actually checked out one of our podcast episodes before her computer got mad at her when the quarantine started. So like it's just really cute.
And she was like, nah.
She's like, I have no idea what you guys are talking about, but I love you.
But no, I think this is a very cool feature of Watch Parties.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely going to be posting in the TV, movies, entertainment section of our Discord. The 2 shows that I'm most interested in watching on Amazon Prime right now are I almost just said The Magicians. That's not it.
I love that.
Carnival Row and The Boys.
Did you ever watch Carnival Row?
No.
It was so good. Like, I couldn't wait. Carnival Row was actually the show I was most excited for at Comic-Con, and I loved it. And then Pete also hasn't watched The Boys. And those are both really, really good shows that he basically just made me watch by myself.
So I'm going to see if anyone else is interested
They're
in
both
watching
really good.
any of those shows with me. And then we'll try to set up a time once a week to watch one episode.
My God, Cetra just said Orlando Bloom, but he was so annoying at Comic-Con. He was so annoying. He was like, I'm going to talk about, like, I know everything about this. And then everybody be like, okay, now that Orlando has shut up, let me tell you what's actually happening. It was so bad. It's hilarious. But yeah, that show is so good.
They're talking about his butt, not his brain.
That's very, very, very true. Both were wonderful. Both are very, very different. And I watch them both by myself because my husband is selfish.
Right. Now we got some listener reaction. We have T-Learn who said it was a lot of fun regarding the MSQ. The music for the zone is incredible. As a lore maven, I'm happy how the story was laid out. Just burn out on Final Fantasy XIV, so never finish that first trial. I'll pick it up again soon when I'm less burnout, but that's not the game's fault.
And it's okay to be burnt out, to learn. I'm actually burnt out again. I go through this back and forth. I'm like finally legit taking a break, but this is worth coming back for. If you've got it unlocked to do just the story, like, definitely do that. It was awesome.
You get free 8 days free right now, so take advantage if you've been away for a little while.
Definitely.
And Raze, again regarding the MSQ, said, I love that we got some more backstory. That redacted, though. I'm assuming that's regarding Sid's daddy.
Yeah, you can't.
And Work the Game says, I love the investment into the story and the narrative of the game and how they've put that into the relic weapon. Mistoso says, I loved Sid's dad. Yum.
That was so funny.
Trev said, I love that I have a giant new stick with 5 holes. Thanks, Geralt.
Yeah. I loved the memes and jokes based off of the like white mage weapon, what's going to grow to. It was freaking awesome.
Is that guy... Is Geralt the same as the Witcher Geralt?
No.
No, like the name, is it the same?
I mean, it's spelled the same.
Is it? Okay. That's what I was asking. I know it's
like it's not
it's not the same character.
You were asking me and I was like, it's a different world entirely. Broly489 says, She Heals I Tank is my favorite podcast. They were one of the first podcasts I listened to when I started listening to podcasts. Oh, if I may nominate a second, then I would say Dungeons and Dads. They've both brightened up my every week with hilarity and joy. And this is from Sticker Mule, who was asking for like underrated content creators.
They were asking for your favorite podcast. Steel Series was actually asking for underrated content creators. And Ace Kaneki said, She Heals I Tank is underrated by far. They are a couple stream that focus on Final Fantasy XIV community with other Final Fantasy mixed in. They are amazing. And you all are amazing too, and much too kind.
Thank you, Ace. You are a big sweetheart. You're like a teddy bear. I really appreciate that you called us out, because Steel Series, I might be wearing some on my head right now. They're kind of awesome. And Pete, do you have anything else you wanted to add?
That is it for me, I believe.
You don't want to talk about your amazing beard and give them a really good shot of it?
I mean, we do have some people that made some other pictures out of it.
Oh, you should share that if they haven't seen the pictures of Pete. So Pete, we've talked about the beard a bit.
Me as Mario?
So Pete basically gave himself like some
mutton chops.
Yeah, he shaved his chin. I came home. I was picking up some stuff, and I came home to a husband with the facial hair broken in the middle.
It's amazing.
That's a thing.
Got one as me as Jack Black from Jumanji.
They're so funny. I shared them with his mom. They're so funny, you guys. These are on her Twitter. He did share them out. They were posted. KK McLeod and Chili made them and shared them in our Discord channel.
The Wolverine one.
It's so ridiculous.
And then I'm not sure what this one is from.
Gangs of New York.
I thought it was Gangs of New York, and then I thought maybe it was like a Deadwood Western. I wasn't sure.
It's Gangs of New York because what's his face had the mutton chops. Yeah. It was.
Well, I love the creativity. That tickled me, guys. Thank you so
Daniel
much for
Day-Lewis,
doing
that's
those.
right. Yeah, he yeah. That was those pictures kind of made my day. Those were amazing. They made the shaving of the facial hair a little less painful. Cause literally, like, you guys, like, half a dozen times today, Pete would like walk out of a room and I'd be like, oh my god, your hair. Your face. What happened to your face? So I forgot about it over and over and over again. And then every time I saw him.
And then she started having antibodies to try to get that memory out of her head.
So bad, you guys. Like, you don't expect your husband to come around the corner and have like a third of his facial hair missing.
Surprise, motherfucker.
It's not attractive. Whatever you do, don't stick your bare chin on top of your head.
Like Velcro.
Oh, don't know. Stay away, squishy face.
I think I'm just going to continue it on up, though, and do like an inverted mohawk. Yeah?
No. So, on that attractive note, that is going to be it for this episode. As always, we've enjoyed hanging out with all of you live here on Twitch. Thank you so much for spending your time with us. You get to see the lovely thing that is my husband's face.
Could have just said my husband.
Face.
Lovely thing.
If you're new here, be sure to hit that follow button so you know the next time we will be going live. And a great big thank you to everyone listening to the podcast through iTunes, Stitcher, Podbean, Spotify, and whatever podcatcher of your choice is thing.
Were those words?
Yep. And remember, wherever you do listen, it would mean a shit ton to us if you gave our little She Heals I Tank podcast a rating or a review. Or, tell a friend to check us out. Here with Vegan Pete, I'm Avi Ale, and we will talk to you next week. Goodbye.
Goodbye.